Whew, maybe I need this level of cooling in my life when things actually get heated. Anyway, there is something to be said about being unapologetically who you are. For example, a chicken is unapologetically a chicken. I have to seriously get better with these metaphors and analogies, but the point I'm trying to get at is that the gaming laptop we have for you in this overview really does not apologize for being what I like to call a true, thoroughbred gaming laptop. Now, I guess you want to know what gaming laptop this is, right? Yeah, I guess you probably know already by the title. But again, let's get into it. The gaming laptop we have here is the Alienware M15 R4. And before we get into it, we would really appreciate it if you would actually subscribe. So many of you watching right now are not subscribed to Expert Zone UKI. So as always, man, show us some love. It really helps us out and really appreciate it. Like we promised from before, the Windows Gaming Overview series is now in full swing, and the Alienware M15 R4 is the second laptop to jump into the arena for the overview treatment. So as always, it's not a review as such, but more of a general overview of what is this unapologetically pretty much in your face thoroughbred gaming laptop. And with that, we will be showcasing some select games and their overall gaming performance in relation to the software and access to the hardware that led to our experience with it. Let's dive into it. Let's start from the outside and work our way in with the design and the build. And let me tell you, this M15 R4 lets you know by the looks and the build that it's not here to play. Or maybe because it's a gaming laptop, it's here to play seriously. It goes with this slim yet longer length slanted design, and it makes the laptop feel very dense in the weight, and it's roughly around 2.11 kilograms, which makes it feel reassuringly strong when using it. And there's the light show. This is the RGB lights, and boy, does the M15 have some RGB lights to show off. From the illuminated Alienware logo at the rear, the 4-zone RGB keyboard with the cool looking illuminated Alienware power logo, and the single continuous RGB strip at the back where the vents are with the ports, you can see these from a mile away. Let's talk about the vents and the cooling for a moment, because they sure do look and mean the business. Man, just look at them. Hexagonal shapes at the rear, as well as massive hexagonal shapes at the bottom and the base of it. Even hexagonal shapes at the top of the keyboard decking, with even more cooling vents on the side, just for safe measure. There's just hex shapes everywhere. It must be the power of the hex. And it looks like the methods Alienware are using definitely kicks into work. From the vapor chamber cooling tech, the dual intake and exhaust airflow, high voltage driving fans, load balancing heat pipes, and the dense copper thin stacks, this is going to keep the M15 R4 cooler than the North Pole. Whew, maybe I need this level of cooling in my life when things actually get heated. Anyway, let's look at the ports, and they've split the ports around on the M15 R4 in a way that is very unique, and also there is a lot of them. Some you may have not even seen on other laptops. On the right side, you have two high-speed USB 3.2 generation 1 ports in the Type A configuration with a micro SD card slot. On the left side, there is a gigabit Ethernet port, another USB 3.2 generation 1 port in Type A, and a 3.5mm audio combo port. Usually at this point, we talk about the ports on the right and the left and we move on. But oh no, there are some ports at the back playing hide and seek, and these ones are impressive. Wait, hide and seek? Who wrote this script? Oh yeah, me. At the back, you have a full-size HDMI 2.1 port, a mini display port 1.4, a Thunderbolt 3 port, which also supports power delivery USB-C charging at 65 watts, the proprietary Alienware graphics amplifier port, and a power port for the 240 watt power supply. How many ports does this M15 R4 have? Wait, let's count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Honestly, that is as many ports as the size of a football team or a soccer team, depending on what part of the world you are. But come on man, we know what it is. It's actually football. The fact at the time of this recording, you have ports like the HDMI 2.1 out, which can support 8K output and high refresh rate at 120Hz at 4K, and the Alienware graphics amplifier port, which takes things to the next level when it comes to external graphics card enclosures. This is next gen stuff here from the Alienware M15 R4. I have to say, I am really feeling this two-tone white and black finish, which seems to handle fingerprints really well. And also, check the name of the color, Lunar Light. Who comes up with these names? Must have been on the night of a full moon or something. Yep. Moving on. Now to the front and center for your visual pleasure, the display. It's 15.6 inches with a 1920 by 1080p resolution, a 300 nit brightness for the screen level, and it also does have 100% of the sRGB color gamut coverage. But my favorite feature on a gaming laptop display has got to be the high refresh rate, and the M15 R4 does not miss. It's packing 144Hz for that smooth responsive, and let's just throw it in there, that buttery experience when it comes to the Windows 10 experience, and also the games that take advantage of it. There is a matte coating to the screen which helps against glare, but as it's also an IPS LCD display, you still maintain great viewing angles on all sides. Really good. Display specs like this are definitely what you need, or else is it even worthy of being called a gaming laptop? I think not. When it comes to the speakers, they are a 4-way stereo setup with dual tweeters and woofer with a total 8-watt output when it comes to the loudness, so they're decent enough when using it for your gaming. Looking at the keyboard and trackpad, it's near enough a full-sized keyboard with a 4-zone RGB fully backlit illuminated keys, which can be changed and controlled through the Alienware Command Center app. More on that later. The trackpad is using precision drivers with a glass surface for that premium feel when using it through Windows 10. Now here comes one of my favorite parts of the gaming laptop. The specs. Bring on the specs. And we're breaking it down. This model I have of the Alienware M15 R4 is rocking the Intel Core i7 10870H, which is based on an 8-core and 16-thread design, which can boost all the way up to 5 GHz. Very impressive. 16 GB of dual channel RAM at 2933 MHz, a 512 GB internal SSD in RAID 0 configuration, and the heartbeat of the graphics power, the NVIDIA RTX 3060 with 6 GB of GDDR6 VRAM. Now, quick info on RAID 0 for the SSD configuration and how it works for the M15. What Alienware are actually doing are using two 256GB SSD and combining them for maximum speed. In Windows 10, it shows a single 512GB SSD configuration, but it's actually two SSDs combined together as one for maximum speed. Almost like the power of fusion. Interesting. Again, this is an overview, so we won't be benchmarking every game with all the settings tweaked. We will just be looking at a select few games and how they perform, showcasing the software experience in Windows 10 with Game Pass for PC and also Alienware's Command Center app. As I like to say as a friendly reminder, this is a gaming laptop, so to get all the performance, you need to make sure that you're plugged in to the power supply to get the maximum performance, because if you do not, bear in mind, you will see a massive performance drop. So definitely make sure you are plugged in to get the maximum performance. So just bear that in mind. Now for the gaming and the software experience. The foundation to this is the Windows 10 experience with the latest DirectX 12 API and services such as Game Pass Ultimate, which includes Game Pass for PC and gives you over 100 plus great games to play with day one release for first party studio games, with the ability to cancel at any time, giving you, the user, the most flexibility and peace of mind when it comes to your gaming. The 3 games we're going to use to showcase the performance of the M15 R4 are Gears 5, which you know is my personal favorite, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and Forza Horizon 4. Starting off with Gears 5, this is pushing the hardware to its limit while giving you still a very well optimized gameplay experience. Running at ultra settings at 1080p, the built-in benchmarking tool showed you will be averaging 70 frames a second, which is a nice amount above the magic 60 frames a second. Running at high settings, you will be averaging 74 frames a second, with medium averaging 80 frames a second and low settings averaging 100 frames a second. Next is Ori and the Will of the Wisp. This game really showcases nice artistic game design with amazing color representation and focuses on being a less demanding game on your hardware, and that is what really allows you to take advantage and enjoy the 144Hz high refresh rate IPS LCD display of the Alienware M15 R4. Using the highest settings, you will get 150 frames a second at 1080p, and most of the time you will see your frame rates go way beyond 144 frames a second, so definitely there is no need to reduce the settings for this game on the M15 R4. Last but not the least is Forza Horizon 4. This is another visually stunning game, and it's well optimized when it comes to how the game runs, and it's really showcasing great car models as well as world environments. Running at ultra settings at 1080p, the built-in benchmarking tool showed that we average 104 frames a second, which is nicely in the triple-digit FPS space. Running at high settings, you will be averaging a healthy 109 frames a second, with medium averaging 110 frames a second and low averaging 116 frames a second. I would say specifically for Gears 5 and Forza Horizon 4 that we're expecting higher numbers at the high, medium and low settings, which might be down to an odd CPU bottleneck in there, as the benchmarking tools when it came to both games for the GPU performance section really showed much higher numbers. So I thought I'd state that for clarity, but overall these are still solid numbers. To really finalize the unapologetic nature of the Alienware M15 R4 gaming laptop experience, Alienware's Command Center app, which the name makes it sound like you are in the middle of a battle station, allows for complete control over things like your RGB lighting, so you can really make it your own. My personal favorite with control over the laptop power and fan performance, and check this, there is an overclocking profile in there which allows you to use the software to really control and push the CPU and the GPU. Talk about really trying to steal the show of a personal desktop PC. This laptop. Battery wise, it is powered by a 6-cell 86.6 watt-hour battery, which comes with the included 240 watts power supply. But as stated before, it does support power delivery charging through the Thunderbolt 3 port at 65 watts. And although it's not going to be enough to give you all the performance you need, especially for gaming, this is great to have, and it's such a nice feature to use in a pinch. Now we've come to the end, and I believe, like myself, you are wondering, who is this Alienware M15 R4 gaming laptop for? Now I'm gonna be straight and say this, it's for the person who wants to be gaming and pretty much nothing else and wants people to know about it. Now, it's not to say that the M15 R4 cannot do anything else, because it's a powerful and very up-to-date laptop with the flexibility of Windows 10 to work in programs like Microsoft 365 Suite, and with medium to heavy content creation such as video editing, which is what I used it for. I can't help but feel with the design aesthetics, the high refresh rate display, the next gen outputs such as HDMI 2.1, and especially the Alienware graphics amplifier port, which pretty much says use me instead of Thunderbolt 3 for external graphics, really does make it easy to say that this is a serious gaming laptop. That covers it for this overview of the Alienware M15 R4. As always, more gaming laptop overviews to come. Hope you enjoyed this overview, and we will see you next time.